How you doing? I'm Michael Bell, the voice of Duke. And if you're listening to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey to the world of G.I. Joe with Greg and Jaren, well, yo, Joe!
Hello everyone and welcome back to Anything Joe's, a collaborative journey through the world of G.I. Joe. My name's Greg Engel.
And I'm Jaren Decker.
And we'll be your host today. Jaren, it's Cobra Convergence V, an event that we were publicly invited to, and by publicly invited, I do mean open to the public.
I mean, tomatoes, right?
Sure. So, for Cobra Convergence this year, we decided to compile a top 5 list of modern Cobra characters that we feel like are severely overlooked. Now, the standard for this list is a little loosey-goosey, but I wanted to take characters that either had little to no representation in the comic book or in the cartoon, with a few exceptions. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the list.
5.
Coming in at number 5, it's Vipra. Vipra is the oldest character that's made this list, releasing in 1998, and it's just about the cutoff point to what I was looking for, something kind of in the latter 20-year run of the almost 40-year run of G.I. Joe. Vipra is originally listed as a intelligence martial arts expert, but over the years, by the time she made it to the FSS line, was kind of transmogrified into a courier for Cobra, which is a role that was not being filled and to this day, and makes a lot of sense because Cobra transmits a lot of sensitive information. Why wouldn't they have somebody that would take that information back and forth for them? That's not even factoring in the fact that she came with the Rattler 4-wheel, the Jeep, not the Jet. Even though Viper is kind of a basic repaint of Jinx, there's still something about her that is extremely appealing, and also kind of fills a void in Cobra.
I mean, I think it's a cool figure. I'm still going back and like really getting into some of these O-ring figures. But I think the body looks great. Like you said, it's a repainted Jinx, which I think Jinx is an underrated character in and of itself. So it just makes sense that they would use one underrated character for, to create the other. I like the colors on her. The kind of like, it's like a two-tone almost. It like gives like a smoky effect almost. Like it's pretty cool. And then the fact that she's a vehicle driver, I think is great.
Yeah, she went through an intermission period where they kind of dressed her in red, and I feel like that's a little too on the nose for a repaint of Jinx. But if you look at her version 1 figure and her version 4 figure, I feel like those two figures are a great concept that is not really been fleshed out, other than some extremely brief mentions in the Devil's Due Run comic. Vipra, as far as we know, doesn't ever do anything.
Yeah, I definitely don't see why she's not back. Like you said, she serves a vital purpose. So it kind of is weird that it's just left open, like no one's doing it right now. Or you just have to imagine that she's off doing it and just running around with her little mail carrier hat on and getting these messages delivered.
4.
Coming in at number 4 is Tombstone. Tombstone is actually one of the last regular modern era G.I. Joe figures that was released, and that probably explains why he hasn't been utilized much at all. Tombstone is a fascinating character who has a primary specialty in psychological operations. He was kind of written on the file card as a foil for Duke, which makes sense that they would have a field commander that could kind of stack up. Something that, again, that you don't really see a lot in the Cobra hierarchy is you've got characters like Destro and Baroness that are always taking the lead, but not really a tactical commander. And that's what I think makes Tombstone so appealing, is that he's battle rugged, he's combat ready. He reads as someone that is a warrior and is prone to battlefield manipulation and psychological effects. I think that's a really cool idea, and as a character that I would absolutely love to see more of.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think that it's actually funny how both he and Viper are kind of filling holes that are very logical, and yet they aren't being utilized like they should be. Plus, his design is just really cool. Like, I mean, looks really cool. I like the mostly black but with the little highlights. I'm all for it. I think he should be, and hopefully he will be. You know, there's still time. He's pretty new, relatively. So maybe we'll get to see him increased in usage.
Coming in at number 3 is Crimson Asp. Although I tried to steer away from rare and weird con variants that have high price points, I can't escape the fact that Crimson Asp is one of the character that has fascinated me since the moment she was created. One of the only convention figures that I absolutely had to seek out at any cost, because my imagination was running wild with the concepts of what she would look like on the battlefield. Someone that specializes in sabotage and arson and demolitions. She has a unique background just because she's from Ireland. Where did she get that eye patch? How did she lose that eye? You know, she seems like a down and dirty saboteur, similar to what Firefly's like, but with just a little bit more spark of personality.
Yeah, I mean, once again, fits a hole. I mean, you know, they have Firefly, but you can never have too many people going in and sabotaging the Joes. I just like to imagine her running around and just putting C4 under the tires, or like the wheel wells of all the vamps and things, and then she just runs off and is just a really intriguing looking character, a really cool character. I would love to try to pronounce her name, but I won't do that. I just think it's really cool to see how cool her design is, but hopefully they flesh it out a little bit more and give us a reason to use her.
It's also a cool concept that, and I know this ties into the box set that she came with, but the file card specifically mentions that she's taken employment with Cobra Mortal, which is a foreign figure that's kind of made its transition to the American audience over the years. So another underrated character that doesn't get a lot of exposure makes this kind of separate mercenary band, which I think has a lot of potential. Coming in at number 2 is Night Adder. Night Adder is a character that has literally no information about him other than a paragraph on the back of his file card. But the one interesting piece of information about Night Adder is that his specialty is security operations. And so immediately my mind thinks, well, that's a perfect. Who else patrols Cobra Island at night and make sure that the security's enforced? Yes, certainly we've seen in the previous versions that Crocmaster patrols with his crocodiles, but do you really want to qualify that as a security expert? It makes sense that you would have somebody that comes with a dog, like a mud and junkyard combination, that's sniffing out for intruders and, you know, scouting the skies to make sure there's no sky strikers or tomahawks flying overboard, letting characters like Ripcord come loose and go crazy. Night Adder has got a lot of potential, is a very, got a great costume design, and has a lot of attitude just from the design of his figure.
Yeah, Night Adder's a really cool character. I think he's got a great design. I love the fact that he comes with a dog. I also think it's really cool that he was released with the wave of the movie figures, even though he wasn't in the movie. Maybe they were originally going to. Maybe he was on the cutting room floor. Who knows? But it kind of gives you that open area to where you could create the backstory and actually fill it in on your own, and just gives you this blank space to just do what you want with.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that if you strip the gear off of Night Adder, his front and back torso have tattoos on them. So it's almost like somebody knew what the backstory for Night Adder was going to be. It's just up to the imagination of the individual fan to kind of flesh it out. And the number 1 character on the top 5 most underrated Cobra characters from the modern era is Shadow Tracker. Now, I know what you're thinking. Anybody that's a diehard fan of the modern era probably knows who Shadow Tracker is. But realistically, all you really know about him is he's a great looking character. And I'm not denying that. He's a fantastic looking character. Everything from the customized dreadlocks, to the secret that lies beneath his mask, to the ensemble of weapons that he's stacked with just screams Shadow Tracker is not only a bad character that you don't want to encounter in the jungle, but has a lot of story to tell behind that mask.
Yeah, I think he's like you said, really cool character. I think all of the characters we've touched on today have been great designs. I think it's funny, when I saw him for the first time, he reminded me of a WWE character called The Fiend, because it's that same thing with this big mask, dreadlocks. I think he's really cool. I would like to see him used and kind of given an actual concrete story and really fleshed out. I think he could become an upper tier Cobra character if they just gave him a little bit of usage.
Yeah, Shadow Tracker really fills a void in the Cobra hierarchy that you don't really see, and that is that he has a spirit-like quality where he can track people down, and he can, he has great skills in the jungle and stuff that is extremely unique for a character like him in the Cobra way. And that concludes the top 5 most underrated Cobra characters in the G.I. Joe universe. How do you feel about the decisions that we've made today? Is there somebody we left out? Do you use these characters in a different way in your Joe universe? We'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments or email us directly at anythingjoespodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much for listening to our Cobra Convergence video. We hope that you check out the other great Cobra Convergence videos that are going on right now. If you've enjoyed this video, please check out the other videos on our YouTube channel and like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching Anything Joe's, where anything's available for discussion and anything Joe.